So what kicked off my AI journey? I used to work for IBM, so about 10 years ago, IBM was very big on AI. Watson was a major product, and I was part of that program. 6.5 years ago, I started working at King & Wood Mallesons, particularly to work on AI, and it's been a very fulfilling journey. But in the last 2 years, nearly 2 years now, generative AI really exploded. So the interest on AI really accelerated every part of the business, from both the legal professionals to the lawyers.
My first exposure to AI, I think, was in my undergraduate degree, where I took some statistics courses and loved them. I sort of discovered the predictive power of mathematics, and that was really, really exciting to me. As a practicing lawyer, I had frustrations with the way that the law was practiced, and I started coming back to the things that I realized in statistics, the things that really excited me in the predictive power of mathematics. As part of moving into technology roles, my interest in trying to upskill technically increased, so I completed a Master's of Computer Science and majored in AI. And that was a little bit fortuitous. While I was completing my AI degree, I got a call from Minter Ellison, and they said, "Would you like to come and merge, those two worlds that you've got, the legal practice and that interest in technology and AI?"
So how I got involved with AI is that I am absolutely, completely obsessed with value-based pricing, and I have been for many, many years. So when I started my own legal technology company, I knew that technology was going to be that real enabler to get greater access to justice for clients, and give that beautiful user experience, and technology was able to do that through to making lawyers' lives better and enabling them to really focus on the value that they give to clients, which is all that beautiful legal expertise and experience and empathy. So my experience starting that technology company was really using AI as a wonderful way to triage clients through to these incredible lawyers who were delivering these amazing value-based pricing services.
How did I get into AI? Well, I'm a self-confessed geek. It's our time now, really. And I'm someone who kind of came at high school doing maths and sciences and then switched to law. And so I guess I've always been in search of where I can combine the two. And generative AI burst onto the scene a couple of years ago, amazingly. So I lead now the Centre for Legal Innovation at the College of Law, and obviously we're focused on change and things that are transforming in the legal ecosystem. Once Gen AI hit, we jumped into it with both feet, and we've really been working in AI pretty much exclusively for that period of time. It's amazing, it's scary, it's exciting, we love it, and we love the community that's working in it. They're incredibly generous, incredibly candid, and the promise of what it will do for our industry is absolutely amazing.
So my journey to AI started with all good things, which was watching a movie. I watched a movie called, lo and behold, Reveries of a Connected World, which is a Werner Herzog documentary about the birth of the internet. And in that, one of the people, a guy called Danny Hillis, said he doesn't know whether intelligence is spontaneously generated on the internet, because if it did, it would be smart enough not to tell us, which I thought was really cool. So I went from a background of being in legal theory and thinking about the way law applies in theoretical terms to suddenly thinking about a way that the law might apply in a more practical way for artificial intelligences, the way that we're going to use AI, and the way that, more importantly, students might use AI.
All right, so I've been around this space for a long time. So started in the late 80s, early 90s, initially doing some work with a group called the Law Technology Centre at Warwick University around what we used to call computer-assisted legal instruction, and developing some of the early tools for that, and also doing some early research into lawyers' use of technology tools, and particularly in those days legal information retrieval type tools and early technology like that. And then sort of moved away from this area until we got past the AI winters, and then started to get involved in research and related activities around law and technology, again about about 8, 9 years ago?
I think the top of my list are continue to encouraging lawyers and legal professionals to understand and learn critical thinking skills. I think in the role of lawyers in ethics, I think in the private sector and other businesses, there's the duty for maintaining those skills are not there. So it's much more about using it first and then learning what the problems are. I think the legal profession is all about learning what the issues will be in the future before they even begin. And I think that will continue to be the case regardless of what technologies come through, and generative AI is just one of them.
One thing that I'd have on my wish list for legal education is maybe a little bit more imagination and expansive thought in terms of how the system that we're operating in might change. I think some of the things in legal practice and the legal industry are taken as axioms, so sort of like accepted truths that we don't question in law school. And I think with really rapid technology change, there is an opportunity to start questioning why those things are done, how those things are done, and how maybe the law can better serve society. I think it would be really nice if in legal education and then bringing that into legal practice, there was just that more maybe engineering or technology mindset of things will change and how can we be a part of driving a change that we'd like to see.
So on my wish list for generative AI and legal education is really that we could focus more deeply on how generative AI really enhances the value of the lawyer and really enables them to be able to understand exactly what it is that they're doing in terms of the delivery of the legal services. So it's not about time. Clients don't value the time of the lawyers. They actually value all that rich human skills. So the empathy and the expertise and the analysis. So I think if legal education can actually focus on how generative AI and these tools can actually enhance the value of the lawyer and the human skills, that would be number one on my wish list.
My wish list for AI and legal education is that we first and foremost understand the opportunity and the potential, and that's the mindset with which we approach it. As lawyers, we're wonderful at being sceptical, and we should be, and there's things that we need to be careful about with this, but we also need to see the opportunity. So I'd love to see that infused through everything that happens with legal education. I'd also really like to see a blurring or a breaking down of the silos between academic and vocational and continuing professional development, so that legal education, and particularly with the use of technology, really allows us to see that as something that is pervasive. It infuses every part of how legal education unfolds and how we teach it and how we learn it. And the other thing that I think would be great for us to see is the importance of the role of lawyers in artificial intelligence and the absolute amazing things that it will be able to do for access to justice, something systemically that we've been not really focusing on as much as we have to or that we need to, and something that artificial intelligence allows us to do. So having that infused into legal education as well, for me, would be absolutely phenomenal.
So my wish list for generative AI is weirdly that we stop talking about generative AI. Nobody talks anymore about how we search the internet. Nobody talks about how mobile phones are revolutionary. We just use the technology. We apply it and we actually put it into context and we use it as a tool. At the moment, generative AI is still way too new for us to actually do that. So hopefully in the very near future, generative AI and all discussions about how we're going to actually use it, how we're going to apply it, will fade into the background, and we'll go back to the good old days of just using tools the way we always have as lawyers, as students, and as people in the world.
In terms of what I think I'd like to see the new developments, I think the assessment piece around legal education, including the whole continuum of legal education through from academic to CPD, is a really important and complicated question. I think we need to be doing more work on a lot more work on that. Issues around how we might develop and what authentic assessment looks like in an AI context is, I think, a really important question. But I think there's also a worrying countervailing pressure to move back to very traditional forms of assessment that are not authentic, and how we negotiate the relationship between academic integrity and the needs for authentic assessment is going to be one of the big challenges for the next few years.